Hey, what's up everyone? This is Coldwater from Phantom Trading, and just a quick video for you guys today, breaking down a short that I took on EU on what day is it today? June 13th. Today's a Tuesday. So I hope you guys are all enjoying your summer. We haven't made a video in a while, so I figured I'd put something up on here. But I just wanted to do this quick breakdown on a counter order flow, technically counter trend trade that I took today. It's definitely counter to the 15-minute, that's for sure. 4 hour, I'm gonna break it down for you guys so you're gonna see. We'll start with weekly here. I'm just gonna mark out the rough zones that we're sort of playing with. Definitely in the long term we are bearish, but in the short, or rather the mid to short term, you can see that we've been pretty bullish until here, right? The last few weeks have been pretty bearish too. So I took a short today, but I didn't end up holding it, and I'm glad I didn't, because to me it was a counter trend trade. I was just looking to scalp it, right? So I took 5 hour out of this trade, which is more than enough for me. I'm totally happy with that. I took it on the 5-minute. I'm gonna break it down for you guys because I think it's a great trade and a great lesson for those of you that want to try to take trades like this. Now I acknowledge that it's probably not gonna fit in everybody's plan. It may be viewed as like pretty aggressive, but there were a lot of confluences that kind of lined up for me, and I was just happy to take the risk on it. It happened in New York session after CPI had hit at around, my journal say, around 9:35 I got tagged in, and I was out I think around like 10 or 11. But anyways, so weekly, that's what I would mark out for weekly. We can see we're also in this weekly demand zone down here, right, which is probably going to show up on the daily a little bit clearer. If we drop down to the daily, we can see that price has obviously shifted bearish, and we have demand being disrespected, right? And we can see that we're also coming off of a daily zone, right? Now the thing is, when I'm marking up my charts and stuff, and even though I took this trade, I don't want to get into the habit of reverse rationalizing why I took a trade. But to me, it's like you have a certain set of criteria that tells you to get into a trade. After years of doing this and the experience that you build up from it, you sort of get a sense of whether or not to take that trade. And sometimes you're going to be wrong just due to the probabilistic nature of the market, right? But I want you guys, and I urge you guys to break down this trade and see if it's something that you would take if you trade this way. Or if you don't and you want to learn to trade this way, of course you're welcome to join Phantom Trading. We teach you guys how to trade supply and demand in this manner, right? But it's really important that you decide for yourself whether a certain trade is valid or not, because if you're just going to take anything or even mark stuff up in hindsight that doesn't actually make sense or is not a valid trade, marking out invalid trades just because they work out is not really going to get you anywhere. I can promise you that. So anyways, continuing on, we can see that this daily supply zone had swept something. So this to me is a pretty strong level. It obviously reacted to it back in May, right? And ever since, price has been dropping. And to me, I'm bullish overall on the daily. I'm not going to bother marking out structure. If you guys want to learn to mark structure out and learn how to trade with structure, we have 2 really great videos on the YouTube channel that you can check out. Just go to the channel. It's really easy to spot them. But I'm just going to tell you guys right now, yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the daily in the long term, but in the short term, again, look, we've started to shift to the downside here, right? So I'll just denote these with lines so you guys can kind of see. What else happened? So we've also swept some sort of ERL here, which is pretty interesting, right? Kind of tells us that we've manipulated these highs, mitigated a supply zone, and now we're pushing below, right? Now whether or not we're going to go and take all of these lows here, because we of course have trendline liquidity sitting below this, I'm not sure, right? But based on the intraday order flow and everything, you're going to see that it's counter on the 15-minute anyways, but I still need to run you guys through the daily so you get a sense of kind of what I'm thinking, right? Because it is pretty relevant to what we're playing here. So next we can see the 4 hour here. As you can see, it is pretty it's pretty bearish overall, but then you can see that we've shifted to bullish order flow, right? We started violating our supply levels here, right? I'll just mark them all out so you get a sense of it here, right? Oops, I should have copied that. Okay, so you can see supply is failing, right? We know supply was holding previously. We can see that we're in a downtrend. So this could just be a pullback. And that's kind of what I'm thinking it is. It's just a deeper pullback because we've tapped into a daily zone. Now, of course, this could reverse and price could shoot up higher, but because I'm playing the intraday, I'm not really holding it anyways for multiple days, right? Plus, we have FOMC tomorrow, so I'm not going to trade a restricted news event like that, even on prop firms that allow restricted news, because I just don't want to get slipped. And in some cases, as you guys know, some of them won't actually pay out if even if you do catch a trade on it, right? Or they may slip you, which is even worse, right? And you might blow your account. Now, depends on the prop firm, of course. But anyways, I'm rambling a little bit here. Let's get back into it. As you can see here, we have a 4-hour zone that we actually ended up tapping into on this day. So that's kind of what I was looking at as well. It's not really a POI that it's swept liquidity or anything. I mean, you could argue that, yeah, we swept this, but the big thing for me is that we kind of swept the liquidity sitting here and here. So to me, I'm expecting some sort of pullback, and then you pair that with the fact that we're in a supply chain here. Right? We can see it's a chain of 4-hour mitigations that are kind of happening here, and yeah, I just think right. I was thinking, okay, price could drop here, right? And again, I'm acknowledging that it's counter order flow and counter to the 15-minute trend. Which we're going to go to the 15-minute in a second here, but this is a good place to look for shorts, right? Based on my plan. And again, it just comes from experience, right? So, don't want to get into the habit of reverse rationalizing a trade when it's not valid. So if this isn't valid for you, then don't mark it up, right? But in my case, I take trades like this. They tend to work pretty well for me. I actually win a lot of these counter trend type trades for whatever reason. It's partly luck, but I think I'm just good at playing these like intraday reversals in New York session, which is the session that I trade, right? So here's CPI. I cut price to where CPI was at 8:30. So you can see there was the news release. We're pretty bullish in terms of structure and order flow on the 15-minute. If I were to break this down a little further, if we want to like look at the refine zone, we can see that we kind of tapped into something here, and we ended up taking a bunch of these highs. Okay, so you can see that we grabbed it, right? These highs here, and we're in this 15-minute nested zone. Now, that's not the most relevant thing to me. It's more the fact that we're in this 4-hour zone. And then now we're going to drop to the 5-minute, and we're going to observe it as if, we're in the actual session. Okay. So I'm just going to play through it slowly. And again, I was looking at this on the 5-minute. I don't really drop to the 1-minute ever anymore. It's just not something that I do. I pretty much trade 5-minute, 15-minute exclusively. But as you can see here, right, we obviously have a really bullish leg, and I'm thinking here, okay, this was the CPI move. I'm expecting some sort of retracement of that move. So what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for some sort of demand failure. Now on the 1-minute, this is going to be a lot clearer, right? And I think a lot of you would probably argue, oh, you're waiting for this low to go. But here's the thing that happens with news days, right? Typically, it's going to manipulate a high like this, and price is not going to come back if it's going to break this low, right? If it's going to break this low, it's most of the time it's gone. And you can go look through historical price action on days that have high impact news releases, and you'll see what I'm talking about, right? So I'm just playing the price action that's in front of me. I like playing post and even sometimes pre-news, assuming that I can catch a move before it actually runs and close it out before news releases. But in this case, news already released, and now either we're going to range, we're going to continue, or we're going to reverse, right? So I had my bets on price reversing. We can see a very, very minor level of demand failed here. If we really want to, we can look on the 1-minute to get a sense of what I'm talking about. Right, I'm obviously talking about this level here. Sorry, let's just use this one. Whoops. So this supply level, and again, I'm just looking at it on the 5-minute. It's all I need, right? I can see that this wick has failed, and that supply is technically starting to take control within this larger leg or range. Okay, so for me, because we tapped into a 15-minute and 4-hour zone, really the 4-hour zone, and it kind of fits my criteria, I'm okay with taking that counter trend play, knowing that it's more likely that price is going to reverse. It's likely exhausted after that move than it is to continue. Again, not saying that it can't, but I thought the odds were in my favor to short it, so that's what I did. So looking at the 5-minute, pretty simple. The other thing that we also have here is a very minor liquidity sweep. It's pretty subtle, but basically what I was looking at was playing this zone. Okay, we had a little bit of imbalance here between where price was and where I was expecting price to sort of fill that zone. And I mean, you could also argue, okay, this is part of a chain, but I didn't really mark that out. It's not all that relevant, right? Beyond that, we also can see that we've swept this previous like high that we had, essentially from earlier in the day, in and around London low, a little bit later in the London session, so around 5 a.m. Eastern. So we swept that, and so again, I'm thinking we took this high, we manipulated these highs, grabbed the stop losses or stop orders that are sitting above here, and I'm thinking, okay, again, price could retrace, right? So all I was doing is looking to play the retest on a very minor 5-minute/1 minute break here. Okay, so what I did was I threw a limit order on here like this. I covered the high a little bit. I had about a 5-pip stop loss. I think I got filled in and around here. I know that I had covered it by at least spread, what little spread there is. Of course, depends on the broker or prop firm that you're trading with. That's where I set my order. As you can see, I got filled in there, and then I had my break-even trigger set at this low here. So I was then sort of waiting. I saw that it had, pushed down pretty quick, and then here you go. You can see that my stop loss then got automatically moved with magic keys from here to here, and then I just covered spread a little bit as well. And then what I did was I was sort of waiting for price to take this low out. I was contemplating closing it a little bit earlier because I was like, okay, this could hold. There's it's totally possible that that's going to happen, right? But here's the thing. I wasn't looking to hold this for like a swing, even an intraday swing or a big move here. Again, I know that I'm counter trend. I'm even technically counter order flow, you could argue, right? Until, we broke this low, right? We now have a couple demand levels that had failed. But, I was just thinking, okay, I'm going to just target this for a hard TP of whatever, 5.68R, right? And you can see, there we go, it hits it. And then what happens after that? Price retraces pretty heavily, and now we're just kind of ranging around. Actually, it looks like it's dropped a lot more. I haven't really looked at price since around 12. Anyways, here is the MT5 screenshot of the trade that I took, so you get a sense of where I entered. I didn't get filled that well, actually. So I think I ended up only making 5R on this. I guess my stop loss was a little bit bigger. I just know I made about 5R on it, so a little over 5R. So I'm not sure exactly what it was or where my stop loss was. It doesn't show on here, but anyways, you get the idea. There's the trade breakdown, and I hope you guys learned something from it. Again, whether or not you guys want to take trades like this, totally up to you. You decide whether it's whether or not it fits within your plan, right? To take a trade like this, that's super counter trend. Again, I'm just playing the news, and I'm playing it based on, or rather, I'm not playing the news, but I'm playing the retracement of the news play, and I'm just playing a trade setup that makes sense to me based on my experience with how price likes to move after certain news events like CPI, right? Anyways, if you guys want to learn how to trade like this, I urge you to check out phantomtradingeffects.com, where we teach you guys how to trade supply and demand the same way that I kind of broke down here. And of course, we have tons of other videos, including videos that cover structure, liquidity, and all sorts of topics that relate to supply and demand trading on this YouTube channel if you're new to trading. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already, and happy trading, guys. Take it easy. Bye.